scare you, I'm sorry.
All please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can we have a roll call, please?
Justin Rock.
Here.
Mary Ann Meisner.
Here.
Corinne Dudo. Here. David Glabe.
Here.
Ricky Joe Hickey is absent excused. Molly Keene. Here. And Denise Wheeler is absent excused.
Do we have any changes to the agenda this evening?
There are no changes.
Consent agenda. Does anybody have any issues? What's on the consent agenda?
Can we pull consent agenda item D and discuss that? Would we put it under new business?
Yeah, 3B will now be 7D.
Do we have a motion?
I move we approve the consent agenda as amended.
One second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Nope. Perfect. All right, we're moving quickly. So this part here will be public comments. If there is any citizens that would like to address the council that on a non-agenda item, this is the time. You do have a 3-minute time limit. And so if anybody does have anything, please step to the podium. Ensure that you put your name and address on the sheet. And do we have anybody?
Hello, everyone. My name is Todd Edmund, and I'm with a company called Net Assets. And I have been talking with the city manager, John, about our product conduits. And conduits, what it does is it sits between a title company and the city. So instead of a title company when a piece of property sells, and the title company checking by calling the city to see what bills might be due or maintenance or what have you, loans against the property, our software answers those questions for them. So about 3.04% is how many calls a year that per population that Grande would get typically to answer those calls. And those calls often are, kind of a game of phone tree where one department calls another and everyone checks to make sure that all the bills against that property are paid or there's nothing outstanding. And our software that we have stops that from happening so that the title companies can just go to the software, see what's in the software, pull a report, and instantly know exactly where they stand with that property. And then that report is good for 30 days, so upon closing of the actual property, they can pull the same report again. They do get charged for it as opposed to right now when they call, but the title companies are our biggest referrers. They prefer it to be able to go into a system, get a report, because then they can just go about their day instantly. Typical charges in Oregon is about $40 per poll, and the expected revenue, so at Grande we take a chunk of that, which would be, less our part, which is $15, so expected revenue for the Grande would be in the ballpark of about $10,000, $9,925. There's no setup fee, and there's no monthly fee on it. And I'm happy to take any other questions that you might have on that. But John had just asked me to come and give a little presentation on the software.
Bottom line is this is a no upfront cost opportunity for revenue to the city. If the title companies elect to utilize it, then that brings money into the city and it's additional revenue. No cost for us to do it. And it's my intention to move forward with this as an additional revenue opportunity for us. But I wanted to make sure that you're aware of it before we started to move forward on it.
Cool. Have you talked to title companies here? Yeah.
I haven't spoke with them personally. What I will say is that 99% of Oregon is using it. We're one of the last cities that are remaining that are not yet using it.
Okay.
We only have one title company here, correct?
I don't know the answer to that question. But
Might be worth reaching out.
Yeah. I think we should reach out before we proceed.
no problem.
The title companies, because we work with Baker City as well, any title company that works in Oregon is going to be using our system. So any title company working in Oregon, anywhere is going to be using our system because your neighbors, Baker City and others in the area all use the software as well.
Makes sense.
It's not a landfall, I mean, a landslide of money that comes in by any means. Their estimates would be that Grande would get about $10,000 a year.
Which is kind of a drop in the bucket and maybe not the purpose. The purpose is to speed up business.
Yeah, no, we're trying to make it easier for the company, but when it comes right down to it, we're trying to create multiple streams of revenue for the city that are not creating additional taxes for the community per se. So the intent is to just find as many places as we can to make money to keep us from having to ask for more money in the future.
Good. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I just want to address the parking downtown. I have a business for the last 11 years. And if apparently we have a parking officer, is that correct? That comes around. Do they work every day, do you know?
Ma'am, actually, if you could address the
I'm sorry.
council versus
Sorry.
the
Well, I was wanting to know if they work every day. My issue is I have a spa, and sometimes my clients are there over 2 hours, and then I get to reward them with a $20 ticket for supporting my small business. And meanwhile, my neighbors at the barber shop park out front all day long. And that's really frustrating to me, because I have elderly women that shouldn't even be walking from the very front of my salon into my salon, and they're walking a block around. And I don't know how to fix it. I've asked before about, could I buy a permit and give to those people and then just give it to the next car? But there's no place for them to even park when the businesses that own businesses are parking out front. And I was hoping somebody had a solution to that.
unfortunately not yet.
Is there something, anywhere I could go to find out a solution to that?
I think Public Works, or who would you suggest, John?
I would say, if you don't mind, reach out to me after the council meeting. I can give you my card.
Okay.
Send me an email, and then we'll work through it together.
All right, thank you very much.
Maybe a 3-hour window. I've gotten nailed on that. Going to multiple businesses, maybe a bit longer window would be helpful.
Yeah. I'm confident I can help.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I would like to address the beginning to use more and more LED lighting in our city. I feel that there should be some kind of regulation to either create less, have the lighting not be quite as bright. There are several different, you can get 3,000 Kevlar, you can get 4,000, you can get 5,000 Kevlar for your lighting. Anything over 3,000 Kevlar has been shown to increase retina damage for people that are looking at those lights. Also, disturbances in sleep patterns and other things. If you Google it, you can find a whole list of things that research is now starting to find about these things. There are particularly some businesses in town here that have been putting up very bright LED lighting with a box that's maybe this big, 2 of them on the side of the building that shine directly west down Adams. If you turn off of Adams to go east off of 4th Street, there are particularly 2 great brand new big lights that glare at you. It has been shown in a lot of reports that this kind of glare can cause pedestrian accidents because the glare is making it difficult to see the people in the street. I've had this happen to me before when I have been driving, and an oncoming LED light, which is a whole other thing. LED lights, headlights have caused so much glare that I did not see the people in the crosswalk. The car was facing me. I was going this direction. Someone was crossing in front. I couldn't see. I propose that the city might have some kind of a regulation about the brightness of the lights, and also if there's no way to dim the brightness of the light, to either put a shield on that light, because you can do that. You can install a shield that will direct the light down instead of out at the drivers. Also, there can be a film that you can put around those lights, or you can just buy a less bright light. And I think that that would help the safety of our streets at night, and also the safety of our retinas. And I've even noticed that in our city, we have those LED lights now on every traffic light that's shining right directly in your eyes as you're trying to look up at the stoplight during the night time. And I find it extremely offending, and as well as potentially hazardous to my eyesight. So I would appreciate consideration for some kind of regulation, if at all possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, do we have restrictions on that in our code?
We have some. I'll have to look into that.
Okay, yeah, so maybe we can look into that.
Okay.
And would that be part of the code that we're looking at amending now, or is that just the housing piece that we'll be looking at later tonight?
We're just looking at housing.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Also, for the record, would you mind saying your name so we can catch it
Oh.
on the video?
I'm sorry. My name is Talia Welch.
Thank you.
I live here in LeGrand.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
We're
Looks-
supposed to have the community association?
That's where I was getting into now.
I think we need to prompt them.
Yeah. Looks like we have the Blue Mountain Humane Society here, Association.
And this is with the 10-minute limit.
Okay. And we've already heard from the Net Assist, correct?
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council and city staff. My name is Lisa Hayes, and I'm the president of the board of directors at Blue Mountain Humane Association. This is Leslie Hassey. She is the treasurer on the board, and we have several of our board members here this evening. So we're here to talk to you, respectfully, actually, request your consideration for increased funding support for our animal shelter operations. For many years, Blue Mountain Humane Association has partnered with Union County and the City of LeGrand to provide essential animal welfare services. Every stray dog brought in by animal control, lots of litters of kittens, neglected or abused animals in our community, they all come through our doors. We are in many ways the safety net for animals and the people who care about them. Over the past several years, we've worked diligently to be responsible stewards of the funding entrusted to us. As outlined in our March 2026 Treasury Report, which you guys should have, we have implemented every reasonable cost-cutting measure we possibly can. In the last 2 years, our board of directors alone have personally contributed more than $23,000 in direct financial support to the shelter to keep it running. We've expanded fundraising efforts, earning $15,000 from various fundraisers in the last 2 years, and we are continuing to do more fundraisers every year, or trying to partner with other people to do fundraising efforts for the shelter. We've actively pursued grants for much-needed building improvements, and we've received $30,000 in grants in the last 2 years for those needs. We've also increased our community engagement with private donations topping $64,000 in the last couple of years. But despite these efforts, the financial reality is challenging. Since 2020, our utility costs have increased by more than 35%. Our insurance premiums rose 37% in just the last year. Payroll expenses have increased due to mandated minimum wage adjustments and the need to retain qualified staff in a competitive labor market. These are not optional expenses. They're the basic costs required to keep the doors open, the kennels clean, the lights on, and train staff on site to ensure humane care and public safety. Without sufficient and sustained funding, we can't maintain the level of service that our community expects and deserves. The shelter provides a critical public service, housing stray and abandoned animals, supporting law enforcement and animal control, protecting public health, and working towards responsible rehoming. If funding doesn't keep pace with rising operational costs, the capacity of the shelter, and by extension the city and county, to meet statutory animal control and welfare obligations will be compromised. We understand that public funds are limited and that you face many competing priorities. However, investing in the shelter is not simply a charitable contribution. It's an investment in public safety, public health, and community well-being. With increased contractual support, we will be able to maintain humane care and medical treatment for animals in need, retain qualified staff to ensure safe and efficient operations, and provide city residents with a responsive, functional animal shelter that they can rely on. We're committed to transparency, accountability, and partnership. We welcome the opportunity to work collaboratively with you to establish a sustainable level of support that ensures long-term stability for the shelter. Together, we can assure our community continues to have a safe haven for animals and a trusted resource for residents. We appreciate your time, your service, and your consideration. Did you have anything else you'd like to add, Leslie?
You have the packet there in front of you. We'd like to invite you to our first annual Doggy Dash on May 16. We'd also like to invite you to be a member of the shelter and get our newsletter and know of upcoming events that we're planning. And we want to thank those of you who support the shelter. We appreciate all of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So currently, the agreement that we have with the county has us contributing just slightly less than $15,000 towards the county contract that they have with the Blue Mountain Humane Association. Don't quote me on this, Matt may be able to speak to it a little bit more intelligently than me, but I think that agreement right now is at about $50,000. They're asking for an overall surge of $60,000 above that current amount. So roughly putting it up to about $110,000 of contributed monies between the county and the city. Of the $50,000, we're putting in approximately 30% of that. And so, depending on what the council states as guidance today, we will make sure that numbers are sitting in front of you when we go over the next budget consideration. But I wanted them to make you aware of that reality so that it wasn't just coming from us.
Thank you.
And with us tonight also, you'll be hearing from Cat Utopia with similar thought processes as well.
And this is a public health, public safety issue.
Agreed.
We need the shelter.
Definitely.
They've done some amazing work. The grants that they received just recently helped them put in a boiler into their facility to actually be able to keep it heated the way that the animals need it to be heated. So they're working hard to do the best they can with the funds that they can garner. And we went out and did a tour of it, met with them, talked to them. The problems are real, but that's everybody's truth, right? So I'm committed to trying to find a path, but I just want to make sure that you're aware.
Thank you. All right, looks like Cat Utopia is the next on the.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for letting us have a few minutes of your time. We work with BMHA as well as PAWS, as well as Best Friends of Baker. My name is Beverly Beach. My rescue partner, Rebecca Lord, is here with me this evening. We are Cat Utopia Union County. We are an all-volunteer strictly donation-based 501c3 organization that started in Pendleton about 30 years ago. We've been Cat Utopia close to 5 years now. One reason this happened was that the director of Cat Utopia in Pendleton reached out because they were getting an awful lot of phone calls from Union County and Grande about cats. And so Rebecca and I jumped in, and here we are this many years later. So we do not have a facility. We are strictly a foster-based organization. All of the cats that we take in are in foster homes by loving volunteers who open up their homes to the animals we rescue. So we have to just rely on volunteers and donations. In the past 5 years, we've probably rescued, adopted out, and transported out to other facilities probably close to 2,500 cats out of this county. So besides being a foster-based rescue, we offer 2 programs to the public here in Union County. The first one has to do, of course, with feral cats. You're all aware of the feral cat. We have lots of colonies around this town and in the county also. So that first program, with the help of Animal Health Center out of Island City, they work with us to spay and neuter feral cats in traps. All of the feral cats will have their ears tipped, so they're easily identifiable in the colonies when you're doing more trapping in the same area. Last year, Cat Utopia alone spent close to $6,000 helping people fix their feral cats. We pay $30 for every female towards their spay-neuter and $20 for every male, so that the cost is not so exorbitant that they won't do it, which they won't if they can't afford it. This year I have to thank our city manager, who's committed some funds towards the feral trapping in the city of Grande, which there's lots of areas that need help there. And this stops the unwanted litters of kittens that come every spring. Anyway, the second program we offer the public is a low-cost spay-neuter run that Rebecca and I go on every month. We get up at 4 in the morning once a month. We receive at 5 a.m. about 20 cats in carriers. These kitties, they're not feral, they're pets. They belong to low-income people who probably could not afford to fix their cats if they went to a local veterinarian. We transport them down to Idaho, have them fixed at a low-cost clinic, and bring them back the same day. So we're here tonight not necessarily to ask for money. We're here to ask for ordinances. Presently, the only ordinance we have is Union County has an ordinance that says you can't have more than 10 cats. That's it. That's all it says. It doesn't say that if you have 12, you need to find out what to do with those other 2 cats. So we would like, I don't know if John gave you some information on what we're requesting, but maybe he will then. We provided him with that last week in our meeting. But first, I want to reassure you, right there, law enforcement, that we're not asking you to police these ordinances. What we would ask you to do is, if someone complains, because we all know ordinances are kind of complaint-driven. So someone calls you and complains about cats or a feral colony, we want you to reach out to us. We're going to then contact whoever you put us in touch with, see what we can do to resolve the situation, whether it's through spay-neuter, whether it's through transporting kitties to another rescue, whether it's, taking them in our foster homes and getting them fixed and adopting them out. Whatever we can do to help. That said, when we come across a situation where someone's trapping and relocating cats out in the middle of the woods and dumping them, then we're going to come to you and ask for your assistance and work with you to resolve the situation. So, that said, I hope John will provide you with the ordinances that we're kind of suggesting, and I will want to talk to Matt at one point in time about these ordinances also to encompass Union County. We'd like to talk to all the other areas because we work Elgin, Union, all the towns. North Powder, I just picked up a cat in North Powder today. So, but I want to thank you for your time, Rebecca, and I appreciate your listening and your support with what we have going on, and see if we can't all work together for the betterment of the kitties in this county and town. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kathy. If you have questions.
I appreciate the data. That kind of makes it, that's
And
the reality.
John has a lot of, we provided him with our numbers. You know, last year we TNR'd, which is trap, neuter, return ferals, 171 animals in this county. We took into our foster system over 400 kitties. We adopted out 160, I believe was my number, which is big. And then we transport a lot of kitties to larger facilities like Oregon Humane, Idaho Humane, where they're fixed and adopted. So I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hands down, the bulk of what they're doing is coming out of La Grande, though. Statistically speaking.
A couple hundred kitties we took in just from the city. And the feral colonies in town, I can start naming them off, you know?
So the city does not have an ordinance in place on a limit for cats. That's county only then?
The one ordinance that we do have, and I'm struggling to remember the exact details of it right now, it doesn't even have enforcement, like what the repercussion of it is.
I thought it was 10, but it didn't have any.
Right.
It's the county ordinance that basically says you can't have over 10 cats. That's all it says, am I correct?
It had, in the past, since the county is the one that's doing the enforcement, we just went off the county regulations. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's why we've never had ordinances, because we go off county versus the city, because we are not the ones that are enforcing the ordinances.
Correct.
Because if we're not enforcing ourselves, we can't set up an ordinance if we're not the ones enforcing it. Am I correct?
That makes sense, yes.
Okay.
What I can say is we can do some looking into it. I do know that in order for us to go down this path, there is some extensive legal costs associated with us going down that path. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. We've got stuff that's coming before you next month that's in relation to not cats, but other ordinances. And we've spent almost $10,000 this year just on working on this one problem. And so it's expensive for us to be able to get it to where it's supposed to be.
Can we visit with the county to see if they can change their ordinance, and then we're not doing the ordinance ourselves, because they're the ones doing the enforcement?
I'll absolutely collaborate with them on it.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Sorry, Matt.
That $10,000 just became your $10,000.
I just gave you a platform to run on, Matt.
All right, we will move in. So is there anybody else that would like to speak before we move into our public hearing? Nobody's jumping. Very well. So we're going to have a public hearing this evening. Public hearing is a first reading by title only for the ordinance amending the Land Development Code. At this time, I would like to open the public hearing and ask the city recorder to read the rules of order in its entirety.
Go ahead. You're good. You're good. You're fine. Go ahead.
All right?
It's me. These rules of order are applicable to the public hearing for considering an amendment to the City of La Grande Code of Ordinances, Subpart B, Land Development Code, and the adoption of housing-related land use code amendments. This is a legislative hearing, therefore counselor ex parte or pre-hearing contact does not apply. The hearing will proceed as follows. The mayor will open the public hearing and request the staff report. The mayor will then accept public testimony relating to the matter. There is a 3-minute time limit for testimony. The order of testimony this evening will begin with that of proponents, which are those in favor, followed by opponents, those opposed, and ending with those neutral to the ordinance being considered for adoption. The proceedings are being electronically recorded to be converted to written minutes. When testifying, please step up to the podium and clearly print your name and address on the speaker sign-in sheet. Please state only your name before addressing the council. Members of the City Council may ask questions of the staff at any time, and subsequent to deliberation, the mayor will close the hearing.
Thank you. At this time, could we have a staff report, Mike?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. Corinne, can you see the TV okay? Do I need to turn it a little bit?
No, I'm good.
So this is just your packet that you have before you. And so this worked well for me at the Planning Commission as I just kind of scrolled through the packet with you as we have questions and as I kind of hit highlights. So for the staff report tonight, that's really my intent, is just to hit the highlights and not go through everything, because there's a lot.
Thank you.
And so,
Right, there's a lot.
so essentially this is strictly related to land use code amendments for housing. And over the last, I don't know, probably 10 years or so, there's been a number of state law changes that we've had code amendments that have come before you. And because of the number of changes at, at the state level, is I was successful at getting a grant to have the state come in and audit our code to see if I've caught everything or if I've missed things. And so we had a consultant come through and evaluate our entire code. And most of our code is consistent with state law. We do have a couple things that are proposed to be changed that we have overlooked, but most of these amendments are recommendations. And so if there's something that catches your eye that you're uncomfortable with, I'd like to talk about that. The Planning Commission has only identified one item, which I'll kind of go over, that I actually pulled that change out. But most of the amendments, or a lot of the amendments, are terminology changes, such as the state's no longer using the word family. They're now calling it a household because a lot of folks are sharing dwelling units. And that's especially true in our community. So single family is now single household. A multifamily is now a multi-unit. So you'll see a lot of that. We've added some definitions. So at the beginning of your packet in the council action form, there's kind of a summary list of, I've identified kind of 12 key items, but the ones I'm going to hit on is there's a number in the definitions. There's a whole bunch of changes where we have definitions that we're deleting because we just don't have that terminology in our code anymore, or we've eliminated it, and then we've added some definitions where we've had some missing. One of the bigger changes that we have is under medical hardship residences. We're eliminating that from our code. That was something we added to our code around like 1998, 2000 or so. We had a couple property owners looking to have medical hardship residence. So rather than having a family member stay in a care facility, they can stay in a separate dwelling unit. They can bring a mobile home onto their property and live in that until that house becomes vacant and then remove it. And we've only had two, and they came around 2000, right when we created that code, and we haven't had any since then. Since then, it's been more popular for folks to build accessory dwelling units on their property because those are not required to be removed, and then you can rent those out when they're done. So that's kind of an obsolete standard, and so that's proposed to be removed. The other one, this is where the Planning Commission recommended a change, is under our variance chapter. We have an administrative variance provision, and the consultant recommended we change the administrative variance to a deviation or an exception type process, and which takes out the public notice requirement for notifying surrounding property owners. And the Planning Commission had a problem or didn't agree with the eliminating the public notice piece to surrounding property owners. If somebody was going to ask for an exception or a deviation from our code, the Planning Commission wanted to make sure that we were at least notifying adjacent property owners that might be impacted. So what we've done, you'll see in this packet, I'll scroll down a little bit, There's a whole section that was proposed, it's in purple, that I striked out because the Planning Commission recommended removal, and we're actually keeping the variance, the administrative variance section intact the way it is, with the exception of it has a different set of review criteria that's a little bit easier to meet. These are all minor changes, like somebody wants to get a little bit extra height on a building height, or they want to be a few inches closer to a property line. There were very minor adjustments to the code, but at least it keeps the notice intact, so at least the neighboring property owner is contacted and has an ability to appeal something that might adversely affect them. The next item I'm going to hit is under our subdivision. This is just essentially a one-line amendment in our code, but subdivisions historically have gone before our Planning Commission for review, and these are now administrative, so state law does not allow those to be Planning Commission as the first level of review process. Those have to be processed administratively with appeals going to the Planning Commission and then to the City Council. So that's an amendment that's in here. The next one, which is the council had a fair amount of discussion on this when we did our work session last year. So this is the public notice section. We currently have a 100-foot notification boundary around properties, regardless of the size or scale of a project and the impact that it might have. And the proposed amendments create different levels of notice. So for these smaller administrative, like an administrative variance, for example, we'll still keep the 100-foot notification boundary to notify the folks in close proximity. But when you get into larger subdivisions, bigger conditional use permits, large commercial developments, that threshold jumps to 300 feet so that folks that are more likely to be impacted will get notice. And then we have a section where we've chatted about in the past where if we're doing a traffic study, that we'll also be notifying folks that are along corridors that would be evaluated, as well as distances around intersections, so that we're doing a better job at notifying folks that could be impacted by a project or a decision that the city's going to make. And then trying to think, accessory dwellings is the next one that I just want to hit. We're really not changing a whole lot in accessory dwellings. It looks like it on this page, but the biggest change is clarification. We currently allow accessory dwellings to be 800 square feet in size, but with the cottage home industry being a little bit more popular, we wanted to make sure that an accessory dwelling is actually smaller than the primary dwelling to make it accessory to that primary use. And so the recommendation the consultant has, which is fairly consistent with what other cities are doing, is that those units would be no more than 75% of the size of the primary dwelling to make sure that it is a smaller unit.
I'm sorry, Mike, what percentage did you say?
75.
75, okay.
Yeah, years ago we used to have like a 35%, and that's a really small dwelling for when you have a small house and you're doing 35% of that primary. So 75%, is a fairly reasonable number. This next one I just want to just kind of hit because this is important for some folks anyway, but in manufactured home parks, we are now allowing, specifically in our code, to allow RV camping, or essentially to stay in an RV or in a manufactured home park. And this is a state law requirement that we allow that. And the provision is that RV has to be a full-service RV that's connected to utilities, water, sewer, and power in order to stay there.
So how does that affect then the RV parks that don't they still have to move every 30 days or something?
No, there's no requirement for, that used to be a requirement 20-something years ago.
Okay,
A long time. Anyway, state law changed to where cities can't regulate the duration somebody camps in an RV, or in an RV park. It used to be 90 days. And,
Oh, 90 days, okay.
Yeah, anyway, and so now that could be a forever thing.
Okay.
And then the state law further changed to allow RVs in manufactured home parks, as long as they're connected to services. And so anyway, so this is just a minor change. And then the last one I just want to hit on is what we've called the duplex division. This is similar like a townhouse development. It's where you have a property that might have a duplex on it, and then you split the property in half, essentially, where each half of the duplex sits on its own parcel. Essentially, you create a townhouse. We also allow this in for triplexes in some of our zones. But anyway, we were already somewhat in compliance with state law on this type of a land use process, but the state has different criteria and a slightly different process. And so we've essentially deleted our whole section and just pasted in what the state law requires for, how we're supposed to do those. But it's very similar. But with that's really all I have to give you, for a presentation. If you want to talk about specific things that were of interest to you, I'd be happy to do that. We've not received any public comment. We've had a number of folks call and ask questions about the code changes, but I've yet to encounter somebody that has any concerns or any conflicts with what's proposed. So do you have any questions?
Sounds,
Oh,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say, it sounds like this is just bringing us into compliance with the state. So we don't really have a say in this. These are things that are going to be mandated whether we like it or not.
Some of these, like the subdivision one, for example, is the duplex division. Those are state law changes. But if you want to keep the word family in the code, that's a recommendation. We'll be one of the few communities in the state to, not eliminate that if we decide to, not change. Our public notice distances, that's entirely us. The recommendations that we have are really intended to clarify standards and to make processes easier. And so, and most of the amendments that you'll see in the code are optional, and they're just recommendations that the consultant had as they went through, because we were actually doing a fairly good job at staying in compliance with state law and keeping up with all the changes.
My question was on the cluster parking. I wasn't really sure what that meant.
Oh, that's in the cottage home section. So the clustered parking it's really a kind of a design feature in a cottage home, is to have your parking spaces grouped into little groups of 5. And it's just more of an aesthetic.
Oh, is that, okay. Because I was kind of confused on that when I was reading it.
Yeah, and then it has some buffering where you have to put a little fence around there in order to minimize impacts of parking spaces from residential homes in those specific developments.
Okay.
And so, at this point, I think we only have one cottage home development.
Is that the one by the high school?
No, that's the Veteran Village up on.
What's the one by the high school then?
Those are just that's called the H Avenue cottages. That's just through a conditional use permit. They're allowed to put in a couple extra. Tiny homes essentially on their property. We do have a subdivision coming up that may come before you. It's the Habitat for Humanity project is coming up. That'll be a cottage home development, and they're using the new standards in their design.
Thank you.
Is it necessary to have those parking restrictions?
It's not necessary. It's just more of an aesthetic option. So in a cottage home development, they already have a lesser standard to meet than some of our other housing. So we require covered parking for your typical residential housing development. And in a cottage home development, they don't have to have covered parking, and so instead they do clustered parking, as is more common, rather than having individual parking spaces at each dwelling. But they could do that if they wanted to. They could go either way.
I did have one more question, and that was something about, like, an apartment building can only have one
Vehicle.
oh gosh, I can't think of the
One
word.
parking space per dwelling?
No, not that part, but they could only rent one out as a,
Short-term rental?
yeah, right, as part-time rental, right.
Yeah, so that was a code change we did probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and we actually eliminated multifamily apartment complexes from doing short-term rentals.
Okay.
And we did that in order to preserve our housing stock in our
That's what I
community.
thought, but I wanted to make
Yeah,
sure.
and so a couple apartment places that are multifamily in our community that do that are grandfathered in right now. So as long as
Okay,
they
that's
can,
what I was gonna ask.
so as long as they continue, they can kind of maintain that and keep doing that short-term rental.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. At this time, we'd like to invite public testimony. All right, I don't see any. Any more counselor discussion?
All seems reasonable, bringing us to where we need to be.
Is this still about the county code update? Because I would like to say something about it before we move on.
Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Monique. I am concerned that to make our beautiful city more aesthetically pleasing, that we may be making it more difficult for families to stay together by, if I have to have a permit, if I'm only allowed to park on my property for 14 days, and if I have to have a permit in order to park on my own property or have an RV or camping on my own property for 14 days, then I have an autistic son, and if in the future, if I need to have other, like an RV or something like that on that property in order to kind of balance out everything that's going on, I would like to have that as an option. But I feel like there's a possibility of my rights being taken away from my property rights being taken away in order to aesthetically please, certain builders or certain people in the city that are concerned about money and aesthetics. And I'm not for sure exactly how this zoning would affect me personally, because as you can see, it's fairly complicated, and you guys have all the data. I don't even have all the data. So this could be passed, and I won't even know where I'm affected at. As far as like a direct phone number for me to call to ask questions or voice my concerns, I didn't see anything on that little pamphlet. I just saw that I needed to come here to tell you guys, what my concerns were. But I definitely do not feel that it is right that on my own property, that I have to get a permit to be able to camp or to use an RV on my own property. That's what I'm concerned about, that I would still like to have those legal rights. So, as an individual. All right, that's all I came to say. That's about it.
Thank you.
Would you mind signing the form if you haven't yet? For our records.
Is it okay if I don't?
Well, because you spoke at the podium, we just want to make sure that we capture the record properly.
I understand. Is it okay if I don't?
I can't argue with you with it, so I guess that's what we'll leave it as.
All right, thank you. But I am a legal resident. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you for your time.
Mike, is that the case? It's 14 days on the property? Or is it 14 days on the street?
I don't know the 14 days, so the city has a no camping requirement in residential areas. We do allow guest use of RVs for up to 30 days. Yes, but that's as a guest use, but we don't allow camping. So camping belongs when you're in the city, belongs in the RV parks or now manufactured home parks. It's proposed to be added. But there's no changes proposed that would allow camping on private property in the city.
An RV considered camping?
Yes. Yeah. So that's a current standard. That's been a standard forever. Yeah, and a number of years ago, we increased the allowance to a 30-day as a guest use. But anyway, that's the provision that we have, and there's no changes proposed. But that's something that if you want to open that and have that conversation, you can. This would be an opportunity for that.
All right, any more public testimony? No? Counselor discussion?
everything looks pretty good from what I saw and read. But this is our first reading, so we will have the second one
We will.
next month, right?
Yep.
Okay.
At this time, could the city recorder read the proposed ordinance for the first time by title only?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of LaGrande, Union County, Oregon, amending Subpart B of the Code of Ordinances, City of LaGrande, Oregon, regarding amendments to the Land Development Code that are required for maintaining conformance with Oregon state land use laws, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and declaring an effective date.
Thank you. At this time, the public hearing is continued to April 1st, 2026, at which time the proposed ordinance is scheduled to be read a second time by title only and considered for adoption. Looks like we have no unfinished business. We're going to move into new business. First one is consider accepting final plat for True Addition subdivision, file number 01-SUB-25. With that, can we have the staff report, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. So this is a request very similar to what you've seen probably just a few months ago anyway with the True subdivision first phase. Anyway, they are nearing completion of their second phase, which is True Addition. This is a development off of 16th Street. And they're currently, I guess, on the waiting list with the paving company to get asphalt put in as soon as the asphalt plant opens in April. Anyway, and so they've essentially bonded for the completion of their street improvements. And so this is, I guess, just a formality that we go through that once they've met their requirements for the development that were imposed either through city code by the planning commission. Once those improvements are done, then it comes to you for just, I guess, kind of a formal approval process. There's a plat in the back room for you to sign if you approve the final plat, and then it'll move on to the county commissioners for a signature and then get recorded, and then the developer can start selling lots. Do you have any questions on the process or what's proposed?
Nothing's changed.
No.
Thank you, Mike. Public comments. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? Nope. Counselor discussion?
It looks like they're very busy out there working though, building these houses.
Motion?
I move that the final plat for True Addition subdivision be accepted for signature and recording.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Do we need any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Nope. All right, next one is considering resolution adoption, a tier allocation framework for cities' opiate settlement funds. And with that, is that you, John?
Mayor and councilors, thank you for this opportunity to talk to you about it. I think we've had some pretty extensive conversation at our different work sessions over this particular topic, specifically after trying to get after how do we help our community as it relates to the various different problem sets connected to opioid usage within the community. Fairly recently, we were contacted by the Union County Safe Communities Coalition, and they came up with a really good plan that actually touches every one of the points that the intended funds are meant to be used for. And they're asking for us to be able to commit some funds to helping them with that in the tiered amount. First year would be $50,000, second year would be $45,000, third year $40,000, fourth year $35,000, fifth year $30,000, and the sixth year $25,000, and every year after that $20,000. But within the agreement that they're looking to is the understanding that our priorities might shift in the future. This is just the intent now. And if we were to agree to that, then, and if this would be approved, then that would be the intended plan. With us here this evening is several members of that coalition, and they're prepared to be able to talk about it and answer questions. I did run this through the county as well, and they were in support, both the sheriff's office and the county themselves were both in support of us supporting this effort. So I'll pause there. If you want to speak with them, I'll have them step up to the podium. But my recommendation would be that we approve this.
Does anybody have any questions for the?
What's not clear to me is how these funds are actually going to be used.
I'm sorry, how they're
How the
actually-
funds are actually going to be used, and it would be nice to just get some insight into.
I agree.
I mean, this is all generalizations, prevention, intervention, community safety efforts, but it would be nice to have some concrete examples of what, how it's envisioned that these funds will actually be deployed.
Chris or Matt or someone from the group, can you step up and speak to this?
Sorry for.
Yeah, please step up. If somebody could step up.
20-minute timeline?
You're good. Go as long as you need to. I think the council prefer brevity, though.
I do want to share some school district statistics relative to the issue, if that's okay, though.
Yay, I love statistics.
Sorry, I have prepared remarks, so sorry, guys. Good evening, Mayor and members of the Grande City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight on the impact of the Union County Safe Communities Coalition and the progress we're seeing in youth substance abuse in our community. The coalition's work is rooted in collaboration, education, and early intervention. Over the past year, we've focused on strengthening prevention at multiple levels in our schools, with our families, and through partnership with community agencies. If we look at the data from October 2024 to October 2025, we see meaningful progress. Among our 11th graders, tobacco use decreased from 26.7% to 23.7%. Alcohol use dropped significantly from 49.4% to 38.5%, more than a 10-point reduction in 1 year. These are not small shifts. They represent real students making healthier choices. In 8th grade, tobacco use declined from 13.7 to 13.2. Alcohol dropped from 16.4 to 13.8. And most notably, marijuana use among 8th graders decreased from 9.2% to 3.1%, a substantial reduction. At the 6th grade level, tobacco use fell from 4.5% to 0. Alcohol use declined from 6.5 to 4.6, and marijuana use increased to 6.9%. This highlights exactly why early prevention work is critical and why we continue to invest in proactive education before patterns become established. However, there's still more work to do, particularly regarding prescription medications and opioid use. In October 2024, we saw prescription opioid use reported at 2.5% in 8th grade and 3.3% in 11th grade, exceeding the state average of 1.9% for 11th graders. Other hard drug use was also reported at 2.5% for 8th graders and 5.6% at 11th grade, and the state average was 3.7%. While the 2025 data for these categories is not yet available, the prior numbers remind us that access to prescription medications and opioids remain a serious concern. Opioid misuse often begins with medications found at home, not from street-level distribution. In 2025-26 school year, so far this school year, we've held 13 expulsion hearings for students ranging from grades 4 to 12 for drug use, possession, or distribution on our campuses. These hearings result in mandatory drug screenings, ongoing therapy, and increased adult supervision by school administration, SRO, parents, and others in our schools. Unfortunately, fortunately, only one of these hearings resulted in actual expulsion because we try to keep kids at school. I see the Union County Safe Communities Coalition as a primary partner in helping lead the charge in our schools against drug use or misuse. Prevention is not a one-year effort, it's a sustained community commitment. The progress we're seeing with alcohol, tobacco, marijuana demonstrates that these coordinated prevention strategies work. Now we must have the same focus and intensity to prescription and opioid misuse. These improvements didn't happen by chance, they were intentional and coordinated. We do things like monthly collaboration with community agencies to align resources and messaging, doTERRA bags, implementation of new best drug prevention program within our communities, designed by our community for our community, expansion, and one of the recommendations of the committee or council was to expand health instruction at La Grande Middle School, which we did. It funds and operates a 7th and 8th grade prevention conference in our community for all of Union County students.
develops a youth leadership organization to empower peer influence, and they stand outside of basketball games or different places to positively impact their peers, and holds community-wide events such as the Drug-Free Run. Every percentage point decrease represents fewer students experimenting with substances, fewer potential addictions, fewer discipline issues, and fewer long-term health consequences. And it also represents long-term savings to our community. As we look ahead, I respectfully urge the City Council to prioritize prevention in allocating opioid settlement funds. This is an opportunity to turn settlement dollars into lasting community protection by investing upstream and reducing downstream costs. We have momentum, we have data showing progress, and we have collaborative infrastructure already in place. With your support, the strategic investments of opioid settlement funds can ensure the next set of numbers shows even greater improvement. Thank you for your leadership and commitment. Thank you, guys. Question? Who's next?
Scott, can you pause for a second?
Don't know.
Can
Yes,
you
sir.
revisit, you gave some statistics, 40, 50%, 49%, something like that.
Yep.
What demographic was that? Was that 12th graders?
It was 11th grade. So let me explain this.
LeGrand.
Let me
Here in LeGrand.
Here in LeGrand. Let me explain the survey a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to know how the data's gathered.
Yeah, so I'll just say the only data source is the student health survey. It's an anonymous survey given to all 6th, 8th, and 11th graders. It hasn't been reliable, I'll just say, in the last probably previous 4 years, because they were merging the student wellness survey and the student health survey, and they were adjusting questions and doing that. Last 2 years, the survey is finally stabilized, and it's the same survey. I have found over 13 years of being a part of that survey, either at the high school or at the district, that it's actually tremendously reliable. It's an anonymous survey. Unlike state testing, most kids don't opt out. They participate, and they answer the questions honestly. It reflects sort of what we see anecdotally in the school with what we track with discipline. And so it's, I'll just say, to some, very cathartic. It's given in our Health 2 classes or different places. And so we use that data. We give that every year in October. We get the full suite of data in April, so I got a preview. That's where I got some of these statistics, but we get more like attachment to school and some other key indicators in April. And that's the survey or that data we collect.
We've got some serious problems in our community if we've got almost half of 11th graders who are using alcohol. And
Yeah.
let alone the other numbers.
Yep.
But, okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
I don't know that my question was answered it was a great presentation, but I don't think my question was answered. Are we going to get that answered at some point?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I'm just the leadoff hitter.
Sure, sounds good.
Hello, my name is Jessie Wilson, and I'm the coordinator for the coalition. Our coalition members come from many layers in our communities. We define these sections as sectors. Sector in prevention refers to a distinct groups, organizations, or industries. Our coalition members span all 12 federally defined sectors and more. Our partnership with all of these sectors has made the coalition instrumental in past community changes and in building community protective factors. In 2015, the coalition and other community partners were instrumental in the ban of public cannabis dispensaries in Union County. Those involved researched and advocated for Union County to protect its youth against open exposure to cannabis products. In 2016, the coalition played a key role in researching and advocating for smoking bans in the Union County parks, in LeGrand parks, and at the fairgrounds. In both of these monumental changes, the coalition gathered to support and information from their members and the community to gather public support to protect our community and overall focus on our youth and the limiting exposure of those to have addictive substances. Our current projects and partnerships allow us to connect with community members of all ages and distribute materials and information to educate a wide age range on medication and illegal substance safety. One annual project that we are facilitating is the Healthy Youth Conference. The Healthy Youth Conference started in 2017, focusing on 7th grade in Union County. It was started with the partnership between the school district, the LaGrande School District, the Union County District Attorney's Office, and the Union County Safe Communities Coalition. It was designed to provide education and tools for the most concerning issues that the target age group was facing. It has grown and expanded to include Union County 8th graders as well. The goal has remained the same, but the partners and topics have grown. The partner list now includes CHD, DHS, EOU, 5 school districts in Union County, the Juvenile Department, the LaGrande Police Department, and the Sheriff's Department. We also have speakers that come in from outside of our community when funding is available. Last year, we received funding specifically for the conference from Wild Horse Foundation, and this year we have received funding from EOCCO, and the grant funds allow us to provide food for the children, for over 600 children from Union County, and to send them home with materials for positive mental health and physical health. The drug-free run was taken over by Union County Safe Community Coalition in 2012. It has had several different formats over the years and is currently being held on the 3rd weekend in September in LaGrande. It includes a 1-mile scavenger hunt for those who choose not to run the 5K, which would be me. This is the only fundraiser the coalition has, and the funds are used specifically to support organizations facilitating alternative activities for youth in Union County. We have partnered with the Union County Care Program to fund swimming pool passes, camp fees, and various other activities for at-risk families that the school district has identified as at-risk families. We have partnered with the Elgin Community Center for supplies for their summer activities, and then we've helped various other organizations throughout the years. We partner with EOU Head Start, providing materials for parent training, lock bags for medication and substance safety, and Datura bags for safe medication disposal. We partner with Grande Hospital in purchasing Datura bags, which are medical disposal bags, to distribute to their clinics. And we have distributed these bags to some of our partners like Community Connections, EOCIL, Red Cross Drug, LaGrande Family Medicine, EOU Head Start, and LaGrande Police Department. In the distribution of the Datura bags, it adds an extra layer for our households because they can dispose of medication immediately and not have it sitting around for children to get.
Those are the bags where you dump the pills in it and zip it up and it just...
Yeah, it dissolves. The carbon in the bag binds to the medication and it instantly null and voids any medication put in the bag. We provide materials for the National Drug Take-Back Day with the LaGrande Police Department. We provide media campaigns on our social media sites and at the local movie theater. We supported the BEST program with funding from the drug-free run when it initially began. We work closely with the LaGrande School District, collecting information and providing materials when asked. We have 2 future projects already planned and scheduled. We will be working with the Go ASAP, which is facilitated by the REV program, affiliated with EOU, to teach a dopamine cafe that teaches students how to regulate the dopamine in their brains without electronics and puts it in a menu format so it's easily navigated by the students, sorry. They would be offended I said that. We are also partnering with the Youth Advisory Council at the LaGrande High School on student-led education at sporting events and other youth-focused activities. And I wanted to share with you an analogy I heard when I was recently at a national conference. Prevention education is the sunscreen of life. We do not go outside without our sunscreen on without that added protection from the sun, even when we can't see it. So why would we send our children out into the world without educating and equipping them with tools to navigate life and all of its challenges? Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm next after Jesse. My name's Savannah Oldenburg. I work at Oregon Department of Human Services in Child Welfare and Self-Sufficiency as the Community Development Coordinator. In my role, I'm one of those many layers Scott and Jesse spoke about, and tonight I'm here on behalf of the Coalition. The substance abuse epidemic has a profound impact on the children and families in Union County. as heard by Scott. It affects every corner of our community. Addiction does not only touch a small number of people, but it does touch all of us. Vulnerability to addiction looks different for each person, and no single factor can predict who will struggle. But we do know this: the more risk factors one person faces, the greater their chances of being pulled into substance use and addiction. And those who are struggling are not strangers. They are our friends and our neighbors, our grandparents, mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters. They are the classmates of our children that sit beside them. In Union County, 52% of open Child Protective Service investigations have substance use as a factor, whether it be by a parent, a child, or the both. In Union County, about 63% of Child Welfare Protective Service investigations that result in children being removed from their family of origin and placed into foster care have substance use as a safety concern that led to the child being removed. We know that there are many risk factors that can steer individuals towards substance use, but we also know that there are protective factors, the positive strengths that support in a person's life can drastically reduce those risks. And right now, those protective factors matter more than ever. Today, communities face stronger influences that generations before did not. Targeted marketing, easier access to substances, the impact of family use, and the high-potency products. All of these increase the chances of early use and addiction. But we also know that those protective factors can change the entire trajectory of a person's life. They are the heart of prevention. They give people the support and skills and the environments they need to stay healthy and safe. Protective factors are the conditions that buffer individuals and families from harm. They are tangible things we can build and strengthen, like positive self-esteem, self-control, social skills, supportive adults and role models, healthy relationships, academic success, clear school policies, and pride in one's community. They are the positive forces that can outweigh risks and help a family move forward to a brighter path. The more protective factors that we can wrap around our youth and our community, the stronger and more resilient we become. In my work across the county, I've seen every day how essential it is for all of us, families, schools, organizations, local partners, leaders, to work together. A strong, safe, healthy community isn't built by one person or one program. It's created when we collaborate, communicate, and take a shared responsibility for the well-being of our youth and our community. That is the work of our coalition. We bring people together, we support prevention, and together we're building a safer, healthier future for our youth and for Union County.
Hi, my name's John Briney. I'm a Grande resident, and I'm here to support the Union County Safe Communities Coalition and encourage the City Council to direct part of its opioid settlement dollars to the coalition. As far as I know, the Safe Communities Coalition has never asked for funding from the city. The coalition has been active in Grande and Union County for more than a decade, working to prevent youth substance use. We need the settlement funds to help bridge the gap as state and federal agencies work to figure out how to support prevention coalitions. The settlement dollars you direct towards the coalition will free up the coalition coordinator to find additional funding from foundations and local grants to support even more prevention programs. We will leverage your investment to expand prevention programming and bring new dollars into La Grande to support even more prevention activities. As part of the opioid settlement agreement, local prevention coalitions are an approved use of the settlement funds under Section G of Exhibit E. Using these funds to support the Safe Communities Coalition is a wise investment in our community. Preventing or delaying substance use in youth leads to a significant lower likelihood of developing substance use disorder later in life. Preventing future substance use disorder can have a large future cost savings. For every dollar invested in tested effective prevention program can create future cost savings ranging between $5 and $15 depending on the prevention program. Thus far, the city has failed to distribute the bulk of its settlement funds. The Union County Safe Communities Coalition is an improved, ongoing, and effective prevention community ready to continue to improve the lives of LaGrande youth. I urge you to approve the settlement funds to support the coalition.
Hello, my name is Sadie Halsey. I serve as the Prevention and Education Program Coordinator for Center for Human Development. I'm a member of the Union County Safe Communities Coalition, and today I would like to share with you a little bit of the importance of prevention work in our community. When people think about drug and alcohol prevention, they often picture big cities and big headlines, but prevention matters just as much, if not more, in small communities like ours. One of our greatest strengths as a small community is our closeness. We shop at the same stores, our local kids attend the same schools, and we see each other at games, parks, and local events. While that closeness is one of our greatest strengths, it also means that when substance misuse touches one person, the ripple effects are felt throughout our community. A single struggle can impact a family, a classroom, a workplace, or an entire circle of friends. Prevention isn't about judgment or punishment, it's about protection. It's about helping young people grow up with healthy coping skills, strong support systems, and real opportunities for growth. When we prevent substance misuse early, we reduce accidents, protect mental health, and strengthen families. We also reduce strain on local emergency services and healthcare resources, which are often limited in communities like ours. In small communities, prevention works best when it's personal. It happens when parents talk openly with their children and neighbors, when neighbors look out for one another. But most importantly, prevention works best for youth when schools, local organizations, and community leaders send a consistent message. Your health matters, your future matters, and you are not alone. Another reason prevention is vital in smaller communities is access. Treatment programs and specialized services are harder to reach. That means stopping problems before they begin is not just helpful, it's essential. Prevention gives people tools before they need crisis care, which is something that the Coalition and I work together to achieve. Over the past year, I have worked closely with the UCSCC in planning and implementing the 7th and 8th grade conference and several community events that provide alternative activities to alcohol and drug use. Most recently, I have connected the Coalition with the Youth Advisory Council at the local LaGrande High School, expanding prevention education in our schools. This partnership has strengthened my programs and created more meaningful opportunities for youth to feel supported, informed, and connected. Continuing these efforts shows that prevention isn't about avoiding harm. It's about building something positive and creating environments where people feel connected, supported, and valued. Communities with strong prevention efforts often see higher graduation rates, stronger local economies, and healthier relationships, building resilience in our community. In a small community, every action, voice, and person matters. By supporting prevention efforts today, you are protecting not only individuals, but the heart of our community for years to come. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Stu, I appreciate that. Good evening. My name is Corinne Brajati, and I am the Director of Communications and Marketing from Grande Hospital and Clinics, and I am a co-chair for the Union County Safe Communities Coalition.
He's pointing to me because I'm the other co-chair.
He's the other co-chair, yeah. My emotional support person. Tonight you've heard about the data, the programs, and the partnerships, but I want to close by speaking from the heart. At Grande Hospital, we do not operate addiction treatment programs, but we see the impact of addiction every single day. We see it in our emergency department, and we see it in the complications that walk through the doors. We also see it in the strain of families who never imagined that they would be navigating addiction in their own communities or homes. And every time we do, we're reminded of the best outcomes is that when there is never a crisis that happens. Prevention is not abstract to us, it's personal. In my role at Grande Hospital, I have seen firsthand what happens when prevention comes too late. That's why I serve as a co-chair for the Union County Safe Communities Coalition and why Grande Hospital is committed to this crucial work. Prevention is the upstream work that changes what we see downstream. It's the difference between reacting to a crisis and building resilience before a crisis ever begins. This coalition is the only place in our county where law enforcement, schools, city leaders, healthcare providers, faith, nonprofits, and families come together every month with one shared goal, and that's to protect our youth. That kind of coordination does not happen anywhere else in our county, and it doesn't happen by accident. It takes leadership, it takes commitment, it takes structure, and it takes a sustained support system. In a rural community like ours, we don't have the luxury of fragmented efforts. When prevention work weakens, it doesn't quietly fade. It leaves gaps in communication, coordination, and opportunities for our youth. And once those gaps form, they are much harder and far more expensive to repair. Communities like ours rarely stumble into opportunities like this. And when we do, we have a responsibility to use them well. These opiate settlement funds give us a real chance to invest in prevention, strengthen the partnerships that are already doing this work, and changing the trajectory for the next generation. Tonight, we're asking you to help sustain that momentum by investing the settlement funds into the Union County Safe Communities Coalition, because this isn't just about funding a program. It's about protecting our youth, strengthening our families, and making sure that partnerships that you've heard about tonight continue doing the work that our community depends on. At the end of the day, the community isn't going to remember the balance that's in that account. They're going to remember the way that we spent the money and if we were good stewards of it. Thanks.
And last but not least, I'll wrap with the answer to Councilor Glabe's questions, which are this. About 12 years ago, the county received a drug-free communities grant from the federal government. It was about $150,000 a year. It paid for full-time staff member, paid for prevention efforts, advertising, all the things that you've heard about tonight. So the coordination of all that lasted 10 years, and then it ended about 4-ish years ago. And that then, there was a different grant that followed that up for only $50,000 a year, which has sustained the coalition until now. So we're in year 4 of that 5-year funding cycle. So to answer the question, the reality is this money can supplement and bridge the gap for staffing, prevention efforts, advertising, direct services and programs directly to the youth in our community, if that makes sense, Dave. I'm trying to paint the historical picture. And the other picture, the other part of this is the federal government has frozen a lot of their grant funding sources over the last year. So that's been another challenge for us, and the reason that we're here to request this funding that's already local, that already is positioned to do the good work. You already saw the people here. Commissioner Sievert's here, the library director, the library's been involved, Councilor Dudo. Who else is in the room? Chief Hayes, he's only been to a couple meetings. He's brand new, right? Wet behind the ears. But we have a long-standing tradition of chiefs of police. The last 2 have been members. So Matt's here too, yeah. But Matt's never been to a meeting, so it's fine. Jake's got you covered, though. Jake's got you covered. Anyway, I tried to answer your question. There's budget reports. There's all the things we can provide. But
here's what I'm after. I mean, many of us grew up with the DARE program, right?
Yeah.
Not effective. It wasn't.
Right.
So you look at the data, and it just didn't work. And so what I want to see is that there's some accountability for the use of these funds toward evidence-based intervention.
Yeah.
And it's out there. So the CDC has the LST, the GBG programs that are, we have firm evidence that these things actually work. They move the needle. I'm worried that, I like statistics too, but I'm worried that survey data is not a good statistic.
Yeah.
That's not high level, a way of understanding, did we actually move the needle? Was that a blip? Was it within the margin of error? So, I'm all for supporting this. I couldn't be more on board with how we use these funds in form of, we want to, like you said, use the upstream to prevent the downstream. Great. Let's invest in that. But I want to see, again, accountability for how those dollars are used. I don't want to have us turn around 10 years from now and say, oh, that was another DARE program and it never worked.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to ask is, what are the programs that are actually being used? What's the framework, what's the structure, and what is the evidence basis to support their use in our community? So,
Great questions.
Okay.
So I'm not a prevention specialist,
Yeah.
as you know, but Jesse is. And we do use several prevention, or what is it called? Best practice, right? Best practice program, evidence-based programs, right? So
Great.
that is happening. Do you want to speak on it at all? Do you want to speak on it? Come up here and
Yeah.
use the
You
microphone.
gotta use the microphone.
Because I'm not a prevention guy.
We want to get this recorded.
good, good.
So let's talk a little bit about the difference between DARE and BEST. And I'm going to try to be quick. We felt that it was not successful. We felt that it didn't address all the topics we wanted to. DARE did. And so we undertook, because there really wasn't much, believe it or not, out there that is for that age range. And so we had a longstanding certified counselor, drug and alcohol specialist, myself, and the SRO, Sheriff's Department, that got together. We designed a program based on lived experience. We then went through that process of working with Neon to do a research-based, like, what are the best practices in drug and alcohol prevention? Do we hit those criteria? They came up with 12 criteria across the research that says your program needs to do this. We then edited and redrafted our program and went through that process. We then contracted with OSU to do an evidence-based research study, to be able to say what kind of questions, what do we need to do with kids pre-post, to be able to collect that. We've been doing that since we started the program. To be able to, we've stamped our program as research-based because of the research review we've done with it, but we're on the process of becoming evidence-based. We've also applied for copyright for our program and instructional guides, those types of things. All of those efforts were required by Union County Safe Communities Coalition to continue to back the BEST program. And so even though it was a homemade sort of program from Little LeGrand, we have accepted the challenge of a great community partner who's helped us with resources or expertise to make something that we can be proud of, that's now used in Baker, Wallowa County, and across our region. As a great program for kids. So it's not like, I would say it's not the gold standard, and certainly someday someone might say, man, those guys that designed BEST, what the heck were they thinking? But it was the best shot we had to make improvement, and I would just say I'm very grateful for the positive pressure that we received from the Union County Safe Communities Coalition as both a thought partner and to say it needs to be better. And if we didn't have the commission or we didn't have the coalition, then what we had designed originally, the three of us in a little room, would have been good enough. So it was nice to be able to have that and then have the financial support to be able to sustain it.
Okay. I love it. Thank you.
First I want to say is prevention is an ever-changing animal. If you look online, you will find a new prevention program every year. It's not so much the program that you use, it's the approach you use. And we are using evidence-based approaches. We are using a community-based approach, which means we are approaching the community and we're educating the community. We are also using a youth-led approach. Kids learn best from each other. I can go into a room of kids and they will look at me like I have 5 heads and not listen to a word I say, which could be accurate some days. But if I go to a youth group like the YAC program at the high school, the Youth Advisory Council, and they go and they spread all the education, the kids listen to them. And they make better headway than I ever will. So I can work with them and I can educate them on all this stuff. And they're going to take what I do and they're going to run with it. So our support of these evidence-based approaches is much more successful than picking a program that's going to change in a year. Like currently, the CDC just revamped their entire program, and now are pushing, it's called Free Minds, which I can almost guarantee you will change in 2 years. So I can pick a program, but it's going to be like a DARE situation. So ours is an evidence-based approach rather than picking a program and changing it next year.
Thanks. Again, that's exactly what I wanted to hear, is just that we're looking for ways of using this that have evidence to support that it's not going to be some wasted use of funds.
I appreciate that.
Can you talk a little bit about the certification process that you have gone through and how that reflects on the programs that we're using right now?
I am currently studying to take my Certified Prevention Specialist test, which puts me at a state level. I will be certified at a state level. I have to have at least 2,000 hours of actual prevention, hands-on prevention work, and I have to have 150 hours of not just prevention work, but addiction work, treatment work, assessment work. There's a wide range of areas that I have to be educated in. And so I have been doing trainings through the Oregon Certified Prevention Professionals and through the certification organization. So I've spent the last 2 years working toward getting my certification, which allows me to have a unique experience and an approach of the whole continuum of care, not just prevention. So I understand from the beginning clear till recovery.
And I feel like you have presented to the coalition, which I'm a part of, some of your things that you've learned and how the evidence is coloring how you're moving things forward.
My new goal is to impart my prevention wisdom on the coalition, which means I'm giving them 10 minutes every meeting of what I've learned. It's just a brief little snippet, but it's opened your eyes, and it lets you know why DARE didn't work and why the evidence-based approach works, why there's risk factors, why we need protective factors. I mean, it's going to be a year-long process. They get to learn from me, 10 minutes at a time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can tell you that from the city perspective too, in our collaborations with the different opioid boards that we're interfacing with, everybody's struggling to find the right answer and how to apply these funds. When this came across my desk, I felt like it was the closest we're going to get to. I think we all can agree we need good and we need great and we need better, but I feel like this is as close as we're going to get, and I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you guys are on the cusp of actually, if you don't get funded, there's going to be a real problem, right? Mm-hmm. And so rather than see this go away, it made more sense for me to make sure that we got this in front of you and that we eagerly supported it.
This has been really informative, and so I'm glad, John, that you arranged, and for all of you that took time out of your evening to be here. Yeah, this is definitely something I can get behind.
So let's get back into order of our meeting here, because that was a little longer. And,
But it was good stuff.
it was very good stuff. Thank you. It took time to do that. Public comments. Is there anybody that we haven't heard that would like to make a comment from the public on this matter? Councilor discussion.
I've been on the commission for 2 years now, and we all do great work from our little areas that we are in. So I'm fully behind this. And I think my primary reason is that this upstream, this prevention is so important, and it'll give us the most bang for our buck because it will affect, years ahead, not just today, but 10 years from now, we will have the effects. So I think it's a great long-term solution.
I would just suggest that any time we're dispensing public funds, accountability is good. And so it would be great if, as part of this, we could, request again an accounting of how those dollars were spent. And perhaps we could do that on an annual basis. That could be a great way to just kind of prevent before the council and the community and say, or present before the council and the community and say, this is what we've been able to do. So.
Understood.
Like each year.
That's a good idea. Every month I see the budget and where it's spent.
Okay.
So I think it's probably a good idea to do it annually anyway, but I can also bring that to our council meetings.
Well, it's not just the money being spent, it's kind of like what results are they getting to from it? I'd like to have that yearly report.
Well, and not only that, but to me, it's a great way of getting this in front of the council every year.
Right.
Because the data that Scott just gave us, we need this in front of our eyes at least once a year, so that it's front of mind periodically, and we can think about, we get caught up in, codes and a lot of other things, but this is fundamental to what it means to be a part of a community. And a part of a safe and a healthy community. And so to me, there's that element of it too, that I think that this is a good way of kind of reviewing that.
Well, our youth are our future.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure they are educated in that field.
I think we are at that point where we can make a motion.
I move that the proposed resolution adopting a tiered allocation framework for the city's opioid settlement funds and authorizing implementation of the year one allocation to support opioid prevention, intervention, and community safety efforts be read by title only, put to a vote, and passed as presented.
Second.
Any more discussion?
And this is not all of the opioid funds.
No. This year, we'd still have like roughly $250,000 left after the first disbursement.
And we've had a work session.
We've got more
on that.
coming. So.
Yeah. Just so we know that, yeah.
But I think too, if we see that we like what's going on here, we have a certain number of years to disperse these, and so if we like what we're seeing, then there's the opportunity for us to invest to a greater extent.
Yes.
So at this time, could the city recorder read the proposed resolution by title only?
A resolution of the City Council of the City of LaGrande, Union County, Oregon, adopting a tiered allocation framework for the city's opioid settlement funds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Nope. There you go. Good work.
I'm too excited to leave now.
It goes downhill from here.
Just because Matt has to present?
All right, so let's get back to it. Consider propose with gas tax ballot referral planning for 2026 general election. With that, can I have the staff report?
Yeah, the bottom line is this just goes back to the work session that we had. We had some significant conversation in regards to the desire to pursue options to help improve our streets and roads situation. The leading theory right now, at least based on the discussion we had at the work session, was that the gas tax would be the best best way for us to fill the gap behind the ARPA funds that we've received. And so what we'd like to do is get your permission officially on record of saying, yes, let's continue to pursue developing those options, and then ultimately bring back to you a series of recommendations or options to choose. One of those being the potential of putting on the ballot in November the addition of a gas tax in order to help with that. So I'm just looking for you to say, yes, go ahead and continue to pursue this as a staff.
All right. With that, we will invite public comments on this matter.
I will say that tomorrow we are holding our first round table.
Councilor discussion?
I think we need to explore this issue and have the city continue to work on it.
I also agree and definitely think that the voters should make this choice.
Well, the voters have to make the choice.
Right, no, but.
There's no choice on that one.
And I think going through the process and transparency and spending the time to educate the public is the way forward.
Having the discussions.
Yeah, I've read every comment on social media and news media, and everyone. I read everyone. I think I can say that completely honestly, unless somebody added some between about noon today and now, but I feel strongly that this is the most fair, equitable way of us being able to hopefully pave our roads a little better. I was reading some data just earlier this week. The state is expecting a $3 billion shortfall relative to what they would have had. This is entirely based off of the improved fuel economy of an average vehicle now in 2025, 26, 37 miles to the gallon is the average. That's money that is not coming in to pave roads, because the gas tax is how the state disperses a good segment of those funds. And so, that's half of the money that they used to bring in just off of fuel economy. And when you consider other factors there, it's problematic. So I realize that the public thinks, based on a lot of comments, that we are spending money poorly, that there's waste somewhere, that somehow we're not being good stewards of their funds. I would publicly challenge anyone to go through the budget line by line, as we do every year, and find somewhere where we are foolishly spending money. We take very, very seriously the onus placed upon us to spend those dollars wisely and responsibly and in the best interest of the community. The reality is remains the number one complaint that we get is roads.
Right.
If every one of us can sit on this dais and say the number one complaint we've had for, Mary Ann, all the years, you're the most senior member here, it's always roads. And we do not have the capability of paving the roads with rising costs and lower dollars coming in. So call it a donation if you want instead of a tax. We're talking $15 to $25 a year is what the average person who runs a vehicle will spend on this tax, which to me would make a big dent in what we're able to do. And so anyway, I'm going into a long discussion, but I do feel strongly that this is something that we do need to get before the citizens, and that we need to educate people so they understand the ramifications. This can't just be a soundbite, oh my gosh, the city's going to tax me. This needs to be about how the dollars are going to be spent, the accountability that's going to be in place, and what we think we can accomplish with that money. My 2 cents.
I think there needs to be understanding. Us voting yes on it doesn't mean it's an automatic thing. It just means it's going to be more discussion.
Correct.
And it gives people, the community, to be able to have their say-so in it as well.
Correct.
Yes.
And we're authorizing staff to do so.
Correct.
So I am going to be the only one that's actually against it. I am a business owner. I have trucks. I spend a lot of money. And to be taxed after being taxed over and over again, I'm tired of being taxed. I know this is a way to help give us more money towards our roads, but I feel with some of the comments of the citizens, Oregon is overtaxed. We are way overtaxed. And to keep getting taxed more and more, I'm fed up with it as well. I know this is going to hurt if we don't get it, because I do understand the comments that I'm seeing. People are not, I'm not saying we're educated, but we deal with this every day. I've seen a lot of comments that my wife told me to put my phone down because I was getting angry. I mean, I feel the same way as them. I'm against the gas tax. But in the same sense, we need citizens to understand that we are doing everything we can with the money. We always have. We're not going to waste money and, filling potholes. Yes, it doesn't fix the problem, but it does help the problems. Our hard people are out there working from Public Works every day, trying to fix our roads and make sure everybody can do their job and go to different events and enjoy our country. And I'm going to stop talking.
But I will say still, just like Dave said, I've been on the council for a long time, and that has been the number one issue every year. Every year.
Do we have a motion?
Our job is to educate people.
It is.
And then allow citizens to decide, do they want to solve the problem or not? And do we want to use the most cost-effective means of doing it to them, which is this method, because the other way is through the user fee,
It's more expensive.
which is that's a much heavier burden on the average citizen than this would be. And so, again, our job is educate people well so that they can make an informed decision for themselves, and then they can decide whether they, want to solve the problem or
It
not.
all will come down to the ballot
Yep.
box.
Yep.
And that's why we need to vote yes tonight, to have
Yes.
an open discussion.
So I will make a motion. I move to authorize coordinated staff and council work toward developing a gas tax ballot referral for the 2026 general election.
I second.
All right, we have motion and second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. And that's it, passed. And we will go on to our next Union County updates.
Oh, 7D.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over, my
Yeah,
bad.
pull 3B
So
out.
we will go back real quick, and then we'll come back to Union County.
My fault.
7D, approval of OLCC liquor license application, Puff and Stuff. Hello, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, attendees. My first time up at the podium, so bear with me. Thank you, I appreciate that. So tonight, really what we're asking for is approval of a liquor license application. This is for Puff and Stuff, which is at the corner of 2nd and Adams Avenue. I contacted the owner, Fred, and asked him really what is this store about, and it's a convenience store. It's just a small convenience store, and he said it's similar to J.C.'s in Smoke City, which we have no problems with.
That was my question, is what, because it didn't really give a description, and on the application, it didn't really say. And then it has it as retail off-premises sales as well?
Correct. And all I know about that is the ability to do like growlers, and I'm not sure what that part is, other than they can apply for a license if they want to hold an event.
Okay. That's all I want to know is, what is it?
Yes, his reply was it's a small convenience store.
Thank you, Chief.
Welcome.
With that, we're going to move on to public comment on this matter.
Don't we have to approve it?
No, we have to go through and do step by step. When we pull it, we have to go through just as we're doing
That's correct.
everything else.
Yep.
Okay.
So first off, we have to ask for public comment. If no one wants to speak on this matter, then we'll move into councilor discussion.
That
If
answered
no-
my questions. I just wanted to know what the nature of the business.
Motion?
I move that the OLCC liquor license application for retail off-premises sales for Puff and Stuff be approved and signed by the mayor.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Nope. Good evening.
Downhill from here, right?
For you.
You said it.
Good evening, Mayor and councilors. Good to see everybody. I just wanted to say what a fantastic way to start off tonight by having Chief Hayes being sworn in. That was fantastic, well-deserved. A couple things that happened. We did have a second reading of Ordinance 2026-01, which was for workforce housing and heavy and light industrial areas in the county. And we postponed it. Commissioner Andrus had knee surgery today, and there were some concerns that he had on our previous meeting. So we'll postpone that to March 18th, our next meeting. Just to let you know on that. I don't know if you saw my Facebook page or not, but we started demo work at the fairgrounds, trying to cut some costs on a few things. It was very exciting. We took that stage down. That was in the Mine building, and that we took the toilets down. I mean, that was like... Tim Topliff, the president of the fair, was like, I love it. Thank you for being there. And it's like, I don't know how long, I've been waiting 6 years to do this. So absolutely fantastic work. And even better news. So did I mention the 1% lottery funds for the fairgrounds that we've been lobbying for, I don't know, about 8 years now? So back in 2007, 2008, when the recession hit, the Oregon Fair Association saw that the state was in a bad way and said, hey, can you we'll help out, and we don't need the 1% anymore from lottery funds, and we'll take a cut on it, which that cut was around $53,000 a year for fairground upkeep and personnel and the like, which $53,000 is not a lot of money. Well, the recession was over, everything's going great, and we would like our 1% back. Well, it took us a good 8 years, and guess what may happen? I'll say may because I've been here before with the money and you're aware of this. But sine die, which is the end of the session, hasn't happened yet. But if it does, we're going to get the 1%, which equates to approximately $270,000 a year.
Nice.
So a little birdie told me, hey, Matt, this is how it went down. The powers that be in legislation said, give them the 1%. I don't want to hear about fairgrounds ever again. So I know I can't take full credit, but I want to say a little bit. I'm like, I bugged them a lot.
Yeah.
And Senator Nash was a full support. I mean, even Commissioner Andrus testified on this a lot. And I mean, $270,000 for Multnomah, Washington. I mean, the big ones, okay, that pays for their popcorn during their fair or whatever. $270,000 for us. We could start rebuilding. We could start making our fairgrounds 100% usable again. With the $4.7 million that we generated for this last project, the fairgrounds are going to be amazing. And I am over ecstatic. So, I mean, fingers crossed. I'm not saying it's there yet. It's not, not there because, like I said before, I've been wronged in the past. But moving, and then, so I wanted to thank everybody that came out for the demolition night, demolition day on the fairgrounds, and I had so many people reach out to me saying, why didn't you let everyone know we could have done more? So liabilities, I don't want everyone getting hurt, stepping on nails or what have you, but if there is another day like that, I will reach out to everybody, and the community output that showed up there was amazing. So if you go to my Facebook page, I don't post much on Facebook because it gets nasty once in a while, but this was such a great deal. So if you haven't seen it yet, I think it's Matt Scarfer for Union County. I don't know which. Matt Scarfer for Union County. I'm not a big Facebook. I'm not a big fan. So on other good news, so there was about 4 years ago, horse racing. Representative Smith brought that to our attention, that there's funding for horse racing that they want to have. There's only like 4 or 5 horse racing arenas here in the state. And one of them happens to be in Union County at the Union County Stock Show. So past President Cassie Miller and I have been working with Rich Angstrom, who was the lobbyist for the horse racing coalition there, with Rep. Lively and Rep. Smith. And they were trying to tie that in with that 1%, which we got a lot of pushback because the fairgrounds really just wanted their 1% without having to give any more money, which I completely get. Well, this was a completely separate bill, which would give quite a bit of money to horse racing facilities in our state. It failed. But we did receive a one-time payment of $1 million for the Union County Stock Show this year.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm on a roll. I'm sorry. I don't want to toot my own horn here, but this is fantastic. And Rich Angstrom said, hey, need you next year because because they want this funding to be sustainable for the horse racing. And I know that Pendleton Roundup's looking, now that there's funding, we have all of a sudden horse racing, everyone wants a horse racing in their county now because they're willing to give a lot of money for this. And I said, well, only if I'm there next year. And he's like, why won't you be there next year? And I said, well, I have 2 opponents that want me out of my position right now. And he's told me, like, well, let me know what you need. So with that, I think I hit everything. That was a lot. And questions?
Thanks for being the squeaky wheel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my pleasure.
Grease.
Yeah. No, after, COVID was very tough to get anything going, but now that COVID's done and I get to go on the Capitol and the other thing too, meetings like this is the reason why I'm glad that we have liaisons to county commissioners. How much was the county brought up today? And I'm glad I was here to hear everything that happened today. And the opioid, the chair of the Opioid Advisory Council that City Manager O'Brien's on, and we are going to appoint the new chief as well to that. Welcome. He was like, what is that? But, yeah, I went to DC, and I think I found an avenue to help residential treatment for $15 million.
Cool.
Hopefully I don't have to fly to DC a lot, but for $15 million I will. Well needed here. So super exciting.
So maybe in a year we can hear them say to give it to him so he doesn't come back.
Yes, hopefully. Hopefully, that'd be great. So I'm glad I finally have some wonderful news. But wait. No, it's not, knock on wood.
No.
Sine die, they may go early, but I hope it happens. It'll be great. Oh, so fairgrounds are going to be good. Stock shows are going to be good. Elgin Stampede's next, because they're asking for funding for their hall, new hall and facility out there. We'll have all 3 bases, all emergency areas covered, because, you know, fire season, who knows what valley they're going to hit. Yeah. So I'd love to see Elgin Stampede get next. They're very, very important for our community here in Union County. Questions?
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Staff, do we have any staff comments?
Mayor, councilors,
Good
that's
evening
hard
to
to
you.
follow. I can't.
Better be all good news.
I know, right? Yeah. So just a couple things. Congratulations, Chief Hayes. That's good. So I like that. A couple things going on in the department. You guys have probably all seen hopefully the message board is up at the fire station. If you haven't, drive by. We're doing some practice runs on some different logos, announcements, things like that. So it's a work in progress, and we'll try to keep the city business up there and fire prevention and stuff like that. So
And it's not too bright.
yeah. There's one color, the red is pretty bright at night. Yeah, and during the day it's pretty good. So if you have anything that bothers you, let me know. So. The other thing, just some statistics. We ran about 243 calls last month, 201 medicals, 29 MVCs and fires, and some lift assist, about 13 lift assists. And I think we're about 470 calls this year already in the 2 months. So a little bit less than last year, but we're right up there. So we're still doing inspections. We had about 8 general inspections, keeping our businesses safe, and the guys are getting in the businesses. One thing we did have this last month, as far as some training, we over in North Powder, it was a class ODF put on for strategy and tactics, and for wildland. And we did some scenarios of Mount Emily on fire out in there up here in Grande off of 12th Street. And we were able to save everything by the time the scenario was over. But we're practicing, and those things are so important for us to be doing, working with our partners at ODF, our local fire agencies out in the county, Forest Service, and just learning how, if something like that happened, how we all come together to take care of those situations. So we hope it never happens. Thank goodness we got some rain today. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but it'll help. But it was a great training working with our partners, Captain Allen, myself, and Firefighter Fields went over, so we had some good representation there and stuff. So anyway, any questions?
That's good to know that you're training in that way, and I think it's great if we can let the public know that too. 'Cause
Yeah,
sometimes they
sure.
just say, oh, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't quite understand the training that our staff.
Yep.
Conducts,
Yeah, we do a lot of that. We do it with our residential structure fires, our commercial structure fires. We throw it up on a screen. We have a program that's called SimjuShare, and we put fire in places and practice it. We can't light a fire every day, but we can practice it, and it becomes muscle memory on how we take care of them. And our people train hard, so it's a good thing. So proud of what our folks do, and proud of the work they do and proud of them, so. All right.
Thanks, Chief.
Hi, the Splash Pad Committee insisted I come up and say again that, yes, they launched their fundraising campaign. We met last night, really active group. The fundraising goal is $200,000 locally, so I'll be calling Matt, and it'll be fine. Just kidding, Matt, it's fine. So it's a $500,000 project. So of that, we will get 60% of that outside funding from probably Oregon State Parks or more than that, actually. So their local goal is about 200,000. So my message that they want me to portray is that, along with the deadline's about May 31st to do that. So they're going to go get $200,000 in 60 days. So it's going to be awesome. And then we're going to build it next summer.
If someone wanted to donate, where
Yeah.
would they go?
Well, it's all over our social media stuff, and it'll be, the direct email's going out tomorrow. It'll be all over the place. So yeah, there's a fancy website you can go and give, $0 to $40,000. So it'll be, the opportunity will be there soon.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's on social media?
It's on the Parks and Rec social media page. It'll be on the city's website. It'll be blasted out via email, et cetera. Yeah.
You can just click and.
You can just click and give.
Money?
Yep, click and give.
Stu, for businesses, is there, kind of
Thank
like
you.
the park where you're going to get a plaque
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that?
Thanks, yeah. So, right, similar to the playground, there's different perks that include everything from the name on the sign to social media videos and mentions and things like that. So there's a whole suite of perks that come along with the different sponsorship levels.
Wants a statue.
I don't.
Yeah, the statue. That's going to cost you.
That rich.
I feel like Matt's getting
Well,
a statue
seriously,
after.
if someone wants, like, if you got a business that wants to put their 200,000 in there, do you just name it after them?
Just name it the, LeGrande
Call it the
Family
Grand
Eye Care.
Hospital,
No, I feel like it's the LeGrande Family Eye Care splash pad. Like, done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody gets.
Naming rights, we're game for all of it, absolutely. Anyway, energetic group, ready to go raise money and impact the community. It's the number one priority, as everybody knows, so, in Parks and Rec, so, good stuff. Any questions other than Dave? No weird?
Oh, but you're not done.
Okay, go.
I just love the naming of Mulch Madness, and I'm just gonna go just because of the name.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're not gonna bring that up tonight. You can share that amongst these guys. It's just, well, so the urban forestry department, so we hired a couple of energetic young folks, right? And they're going crazy. So I just made fun of them all day yesterday. But Mulch Madness is a community workshop coming soon near you that it's the benefits of mulch. And then we're going to do mulch at Riverside Park in what's going to be the Teresa Gustafson Tiny Forest, which is her sort of legacy piece, which would be pretty cool. So Mulch Madness is a lot of mulch and a lot of raking. So wear your gloves.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Yeah, Arbor Day's coming up soon. This will be a lot of tree activity with a lot of terrible puns. Knowing these staff that we hired. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other staff would like to make a comment this evening? City manager.
So I had a 15-tier comments that I wanted to share, but I'm going to boil it down to just 2 comments. One of those is I'm going to also throw some time back to you in regards to we had an executive session planned for this evening. On Monday this week, we received information in regards to significantly increasing costs associated with CIS benefits. As a result of that, that's literally taking us back to square one in regards to our collective bargaining negotiations. And so I would say we don't necessarily need to meet for an update today unless you want to talk to me specifically about it, but we're essentially back at square one.
I think we're good until you give us more information.
Yeah, I think so too.
And so then the only other thing is tomorrow night will be our round table. First, it should be about 8 of those a year. It will be, yeah.
Sorry.
It'll be topic specific, and this first one that's going to be tomorrow night here in the council chambers, starting at 6 o'clock, focusing on streets and roads.
Right.
So unless you have any questions of me, that's all I have for this. Oh, I'm sorry. And then just a reminder too, we're going to do a work session. This was on.
That was for, because you guys, sorry, I'm just going to jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you guys passed the gas tax prep. We are already planned a work session for the 23rd of March.
Okay.
That will be your next meeting.
Is that the next work session we have?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
27th?
23rd.
23rd, I'm sorry. March.
Okay.
Is that it, John?
No, yeah, that's, I'm fine. Yes.
Perfect. Council?
Oh.
No comment. Yes?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to remind everybody that on March 14th is the Shamrock Shuffle that LeGrand Main Street is putting on. It's a 10K, 5K.
You gonna dress up and go 10K?
No, I'm working on the registration.
Just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not going to be a leprechaun. But just want to remind people, that it's a great event, and they have, I think, over 200 runners right at the moment.
Wow.
That are planning on
That's
coming.
really good.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was quite a bit. I think Angie Harris, who is sponsor or who is hosting it, or she's planning it, she thinks by that date we'll have 300 runners because they keep coming in daily.
You running it, Stu?
That's a lot.
I'm dressed up too.
You can dress up.
No.
You can run and be a leprechaun.
I'd be a very large leprechaun. If people donate extra, I would. And I don't run. All right, with that,
Just a heads up, there was one event that happened tonight that League of Women Voters is putting on, and I think they're going to be doing another one as well. Voter education is the target. I think tonight they had some people zooming in, including the Attorney General from Oregon. Yeah. So they're going to be doing some good work on just educating voters on how Oregon runs their elections and why, and how you can be an informed voter. So be on the lookout for those things. I think they're really, really good. I think we have, like in this day and age, it's hard to find good, valid information, especially since the paper is, very minimal. And I think this is a great avenue to get voters educated on how things operate. And it's a nonpartisan group just trying to make sure that people know how to vote and what's going on voting-wise. I think that's all I have.
anybody else? Before I hit the gavel and we move on into urban renewal. We are adjourned. Thank you for everybody coming. Do we need a moment? Do we need you guys?
I need to stand up.
How about we take like a 5-minute break?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that would be great.
My watch keeps reminding me to stand.
that gavel and we're gonna move.
Yeah.
No, but David probably
Budget
does.
picture.
He didn't get any.
I would like to call to order, and can we have a roll call, please?
Justin Rock,
Here?
Marianne Meisner, Here. Corinne Dudo, David Labe.
Here.
Ricky Joe Hickey is absent excused, Molly King.
Here.
Denise Wheeler is absent excused.
Perfect. Agenda approval. Do we have any change to the agenda?
No changes tonight.
Perfect. Consent agenda. Looks like basically just minutes. Do we have a motion?
I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
A motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Public comments. I don't see any, so unless you would like to speak on it, Matt. I think it's open now. Perfect. All right, so we're going to move on that. No public hearing, no unfinished business. New business. Could we have the staff report, please, Timothy?
Yes. Mr. Mayor and members of the agency, what you have before you tonight is really just a update to the urban renewal call for action or call for projects policy. Every year we kind of go through this process, collecting feedback since our last special meeting to allocate funds. We've had a couple of different meetings, the agency retreat, and then we also did present those draft changes to the Urban Renewal Advisory Commission earlier or late last month. And so they have reviewed the recommended changes, recommending them to the agency for approval. Given the time, I'll try to be fairly concise. I won't read through everything. But for those folks who may be listening from the public, just a couple of quick highlights. Most of the changes here, Section A is really some additional language clarifying the purpose of the incentive. Section C, there are several items that update the language, clarifying the eligibility for projects that include a residential component. Again, really kind of clarifying we're not interested in doing apartment complexes or residential only projects, but that clarifying the need for a commercial component. Section D, or Section G, 5 and 6, there's some language in there clarifying scope of work and how that's defined when a project is deemed complete and when it can receive partial payment. We have had a couple of instances over the last year where administratively we've had folks come to us and say, well, I'm done, and there was still work that wasn't done, but their perception was, well, they did everything that was eligible for funding, so these things that weren't actually eligible, tenant improvements, weren't necessarily done yet. And so this simply clarifies that language, that if in the application it's included in the scope of work, that scope of work will define project completion. And so I think that's the key piece. And then item H clarifies new application process this year. We will no longer be doing handwritten applications. We will be doing an electronic application form. We have administratively run that out for a couple of test drives. We think it works pretty well. We think the one challenge that we know we'll kind of have to work through is that the application form will not allow you to start, stop, and come back. You have to schedule time to sit down and do the application. So in these changes, you'll see language that really outlines that and reminds folks, gather your information. Here's all the questions you're going to need. Go through the form, gather your information, and then you'll be able to do that in one setting. The couple of test drives that we've had indicate otherwise. We think it's going to work pretty well. Text boxes will automatically expand when we go to print them, so you won't get cut off halfway through. That'll eliminate some of the other things. Section I, go ahead.
Go back to the application.
Yes.
Is there going to be some sort of a response that the applicant gets that says your application is in and complete?
Yes, once they hit submit, they will get an automatic response, and we will immediately, or within one business day, be able to go through, verify that it's complete, and that all of the attached requirements are there. So all of the uploaded documents that need to be attached will be there as well.
I can see the item that you mentioned being a source of a lot of frustration. If
You know,
someone sits down and can't complete the application in one setting. So I mean, I'm wondering if there's something that, you know, we should be doing, if that is a real limitation and we can't work around it right now. I mean, do we at least have like a printed template or a downloadable template or something like that where they
We can definitely do the template as a Word document and just say, you know, here's basically the application in Word. You can go back and do that. That has its own limitations. The form actually will do the math for them on their budget, so their budget, you know, will all add up in the form, and then it's linked to the upload to a secure Dropbox for all of their applications, which will be, you know, assigned to that form. So, I mean, if we have to do a Word document, we can do a Word document and just, you know, they can upload all of their forms separately. We think this will be the easiest way to just do it all in one place. And I think reiterating throughout the application process, get your ducks in a row, get all your information. Our recommendation is answer all these questions in a Word document and cut and paste anyway.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you know, something like that.
We're going to give them the Cliff Notes and a cheat sheet.
Perfect.
But as an option, if somebody just can't figure it out, we can just, here's the questions, here's, you know, the form in a Word document, fill it out in a Word document, save it, and make sure you attach or bring in all of your attachments.
Okay.
But we will be pretty absolute on the no handwritten applications this year. That was pretty clear feedback from the commission, from the agency. So we'll work with them, be as flexible as we can in terms of, you know, the actual form completion, making sure that we can help facilitate getting a complete application, but it can't be handwritten.
And I, this year, am not going to support any project that is incomplete, that is subpar. This is taxpayers' money. You know, some of them we got last year were just abysmal, and I'm going to draw the line and just say I'm not going to support that. So just so they know.
Nope. And we'll be.
It needs to look good if you want money.
Nope. We'll be very clear on that expectation, and that's the agency's, you know, responsibility and your directive. I know when we get the applications, we go through them. We don't rank them on quality. We rank them on, do they meet these criteria? That is the agency's discretion to say, yeah, it meets the criteria, but we don't think it's a project that's the application is not strong or the project's not strong. That is clearly agency's prerogative. So, Section I is the other change. So we updated the required materials. This one, I would like you to look at Section I, because this is one that we've talked about repeatedly in the past. And this is honestly staff's best effort to meet what I perceive as the expectation of the agency. And I will tell you already, I know that there will be agency members who don't think it's perfect. The question always is been the issue of requiring a business plan when the grant application is for property development it's for investment in the actual physical asset. Oftentimes, the building owner, the applicant, is not the business owner. So if I own the building, why do I need a business plan for my tenant who's may or may not already be my tenant. So what we've tried to do is, understanding that the issue is we want to know what's the financial stability of the project. Is it physically a strong project? So what we've said is if the project is not going to be occupied by the applicant, then we need a signed letter, lease agreement, or a letter of intent from a business owner committing to occupy the space upon project completion, or a detailed marketing tenant recruitment plan so that from the property owner perspective, we know how the property is going to be marketed. We at least know what the intended outcome of the improvements are from the property owner standpoint. If they are the business tenant, is the applicant, then we want to see a business plan for the business that's going to be receiving the grant to renovate their space or their building. I think from a staff perspective, that's the best we can do, separating that the grant is really not a business grant. It is a property development grant, and still try to meet the expectation from council that, or from the agency, that there is a plan and that the plan is financially viable path for the project. So I'm happy to take questions if we need to make further refinement there, but I think that's the best I can do from a staff to try to address the agency concern and make sure we get something in that category for each applicant.
Timothy, would you mind sending me that? I did not get it on my packet.
Which one do you look at?
It was on the first email, not the second one. I
Well,
missed that too.
I only saw one email from Stacy this year.
Well, the first email, are you talking about this
was on-
document? It's in the.
I think she
it's
was
in
looking
the-
right there.
No,
that what you
I
wanna
didn't
look
even
at?
get
She's saying she did not receive this
the packet,
attachment.
Oh.
that attachment at all.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even know that we had
Stacy
one.
sent two emails. The first had Urban Renewal City Council meeting and another document. And then the second one was an updated for the
I
city
didn't
council.
get another
because the title was
updated
changed.
one.
Yeah, the first email had both the city council, the urban renewal, and the executive session notice. And I did not mark the city council meeting correctly, it was just.
It was like immediately afterwards.
Yeah, it said work session.
But when I looked at my
So I'm
stuff,
wondering if you're seeing the second email, which would
Well, I
only
am.
have the council meeting.
I am, but I didn't,
Go to the first one.
I do not have a first one from you on here.
I'm not sure.
I don't either. I
These
can't
were all
imagine.
put together, but I can give you mine if you would like to.
No, if you could just send it to me, that's fine. I just want that attachment.
Mary Ann, when you swipe the left and hit delete, it goes away.
But I wouldn't have taken hers off.
Bring it back.
It's gone.
So
I'm
Timothy,
sorry.
I appreciate the clarifications. I would say, to Corinne's point, what I look forward, perhaps I missed it, but I wouldn't mind modifying this so that it's clear that incomplete applications will not be accepted. And let's just set that foundation, that if someone's not going to take the time to go through and complete the application, that it never makes it to the council, because I'm with Corinne, I'm just not going to do it. If someone wants public money, but isn't going to take the time to ensure that they have answered the questions being answered, even if they say, not applicable or something like that, but we had some, we have had some that probably should have never been, they should have been filtered before they reached the council. And so I wouldn't mind if we put that language in here. I tried to look for it, I didn't see it, but maybe we need to make just a firm point somewhere here so that people know incomplete applications, they're just not accepted. If they submit it and you guys are reviewing and there's still time and you can turn it back over to them and say, hey, look, this was incomplete, maybe you want to resubmit that, that's fine, but I think by the time it makes it to us, if it was incomplete, it just doesn't hit that.
I would ask that the agency vote on that so that we get it as collective, that's the guidance.
Sure, that would
'cause I
be an
know
as
that
amended.
some people here don't necessarily agree with that. Some of them aren't present tonight, but But
We have a
agree on
quorum,
that.
so we
Yeah,
could
exactly,
move on
that's
this
okay.
as amended.
We just got to do amended.
Yep.
Just make sure we amend it with it in there. Is that correct, John?
Yeah, and I can add that in H2, because we talk about, I mean, that already says that they have to be on the form, must include all necessary required supporting documents to fully satisfy the above stated criteria, to be deemed complete, and just right there, just put incomplete applications will not be submitted. So I
Yeah, I
can just
mean,
add that
even
right
right
there.
at the end, because we say, hey, faxed or handwritten's not accepted, incomplete's not accepted.
Yep.
It's just that simple.
I can just add it right there in that piece right there, and
Okay.
Perfect.
Wonderful, understood.
Any more for Timothy? Any more questions? Public comments? That just makes me laugh. Agency discussion.
I think these are good improvements, and I think like every year incrementally.
Every year we-
It gets a little bit better. It's, compared to like 8 or 10 years ago, it's a whole different bird, and it's great.
so now we just got to make sure we get good applicants for you.
Yeah, well, if we don't, then we just can hold on to the money and wait until some come along, is how I look at it.
Yep.
Motion?
I move that the agency adopt the recommended changes to the urban renewal call for projects grant policies recommended by the Urban Renewal Advisory Commission as amended.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Nope.
No comments from me.
I have a couple of additional staff comments. Very quickly, I'll be succinct. With those amendments, we'll get these turned around. Call for projects will open for applications on Monday the 9th. We'll take applications through May 25th, excuse me. And then we will have the special meeting with the agency scheduled for July 29th. So we're ready to hit the ground running. Two other very quick items I want to just bring to your attention. I know I sent you all an email Monday of this week regarding the Opportunity Zone. That's an incentive. The original Opportunity Zones were formed a little 10 years ago, and they've expired. The recent funding bill basically codified those. They're now permanent. And that's basically, it's a federal incentive. It's a little different than most of what we work with because it's really an investor focused incentive designed to generate lending revenue for projects. It is census tract based. And so one of the things that we're working on right now is the state will be in charge of designating the census tracts in the state of Oregon that qualify. Local municipalities will be the ones who will be submitting those nominations. And in our case, because any of our census tracts will be partially in the city, partially in the county, the county will likely be the lead in that nomination process. And since that's got a pretty fixed timeline, we did reach out to the county. We'll be doing a work session with the county on March 11th, and we will be coming back to the agency with additional information, kind of outlining what the Opportunity Zone is, why we're focused on the potential census tract we are, and loop you in through that process as we have more information. But I did want to make sure that before you read in the paper or online that we're having a work session with the county, that you were aware of that work session in advance and the purpose of that. So we'll keep you posted on that. Also, just very quickly, at the end of our last month's council meeting, City Manager O'Brien mentioned some potential opportunities around the former firehouse building. We have initiated some conversations and are in the process of trying to determine sort of the fair market value of that property and the level of interest from a interested party. So we are doing some due diligence on that. We don't have any proposal or any actionable information at this time, but there's movement there. We will keep the agency informed as we have either a proposal or an opportunity to act on.
Would that be through the agency or through the city? Because my understanding was the city owned it.
So it could be either. I mean, my thought is I would probably say that I would, as staff, probably look at this as a urban renewal because I think we have two interests. One is the opportunity to divest of that building, get it into private sector. The other is in the urban renewal district, we clearly want to see that project actually be renovated, be improved. So that's an urban renewal goal as part of that process. So we can bring that back to you in either format. My suspicion is at some point we would be looking at a proposal that could be both a city, because the city is the owner, the sale potentially would happen as the city development, whatever that proposal looks like, would probably require the agency engagement. So, it's probably a little of both. But I figured since I was here, I'd just make sure you're aware that there's some movement. There's nothing actionable, nothing solidly defined. But we'll keep you posted as that process develops.
Early assessment on that is the building's going to require a lot of money in order to get it usable beyond what it's currently at. Everything above what's currently being used right now is very bad condition.
That's all the comments I have unless you have questions.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Timothy, while you're standing there, I think some congratulations are in order.
Thank you.
My understanding is you were selected as the Employee of the Year.
My coworkers were very sneaky, but thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, it's well deserved.
Good.
Anything else? Good on the right, good on the left. We are adjourned. I keep scaring you when I do that?
Yeah, for some reason, I'm not.
Sorry, I'm not trying to scare you. Do we have